Have you ever met one of those people who just can't be stopped? It's like they're unstoppable.
Yeah, I have.
Me too.
What's their mystique?
Nothing stops these people.
Don't stop.
Welcome to Mission Unstoppable with Coach Frankie Picasso. You're about to meet some of the most amazing people.
Stop. Don't stop.
They've accomplished their goals despite insurmountable odds. They beat adversity, physical hardship, and traumatic events, and emerged triumphantly. They're people just like you and me, and they're winners. Are you unstoppable? Here's Frankie to show you how.
Hello there, and I am your host, Frankie Picasso, and I'm so glad that you joined us today. Today, we are going on another Mission Unstoppable with the Drunken Chemist, a company that seeks to pamper, protect, and heal the skin through their high-quality, small-batch soap and bath products. However, this company goes beyond the surface level of the skin and surfactants to being true and concerned global partners who think about social impact. Only source sustainable, simple, renewable, healthy ingredients. And TDC, Drunken Chemist, supports many charitable and supportive groups, and today we will be discussing their partnership with Pathfinder, a social enterprise that assists others in bringing about positive, impactful change into the world, and TDC's idea to create jobs for impoverished women in India. Karen Bacilio is the founder and chief chemist for the Drunken Chemist, a company she founded to encourage healthy and clean living in a fun and whimsical way, or as she says, because she's obsessed with chemistry and soap. Let's wish her a happy birthday. I just found out it's her birthday today. Armed with a master's. Yeah, happy birthday. She's armed with a master's in life and chemical science, and in addition to her duties with TDC, Karen is also an associate professor and college chemistry teacher. She was born to military parents overseas 60 years ago, and it seems as though her travel lust hasn't left her, and she has experienced diverse cultures and environments around the globe. She has a loving, brilliant husband. That's a great. I love that. 2 beautiful sons, a gorgeous daughter-in-law, and 2 hideously spoiled cats. We'll have to hear about them in a moment. Also joining us is Christina Rest. She's a product developer and media specialist for the Drunken Chemist. She's also a screen actress and scriptwriter. Originally from Chicago, she divides her time between her LA and Chicago families. And when Christina isn't networking to extend TDC's outreach missions, she investigates all things ethically glamorous and soap-related. Welcome, ladies. How are you?
Thank you for having us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Karen, it's your birthday,
Yes.
as I stated. What a great day to reflect. You started TDC with your sister, Lisa. How did that come about?
We actually, Lisa came in later. We started actually at a bar one night. I had been in Portugal and come back with a lot of homemade soaps, and being a chemist was just fascinated by it and began to realize that I could create my own, and wanted to make sure that it fit within the vision that you've talked about, the ethically responsible and global partner and all that. But being in a bar, the first names that we picked for our soaps tended to be things cocktail oriented. So. Right. And we knew it would work when the bartender turned around and said, "Oh, I would buy that soap. I think I would buy that." So we immediately launched it. My daughter-in-law came up with the name The Drunken Chemist. And so our first line of soaps were beer soaps. We made domestic and Highland malt and all these other soaps that were based in beer, which is very good for soap making and really good for your skin.
Sure.
And then we decided at some point, very early on, that we didn't want to follow the traditional American dream entrepreneur path. We found that by going that direction, we would wind up with debt loads from, well-meaning banks who wanted to give us money to start a company.
Sure.
And then all kinds of other things that you sort of found yourself falling into, like, tons of business cards. And there seemed to be a whole culture around the entrepreneur that ended up making money for a lot of people outside and loading the original idea with debt. And we just didn't want to do that one. At that point, my sister and I began to get more involved in the actual workings of a company, because I can make soap. I mean, I'm very good at it. But the whole building a business was kind of a mystery to me. So we began to look at it and realize that we didn't want to follow down that path, and 2 years later have cut our quality to make money to pay back debt, or compromised in any way. So we stuck with the original lean company concept. Everything that we put into the company, we got from our own funds. I would do some extra tutoring in chemistry, and we would put that money in there. And, then we would do a custom show or a custom wedding, and that money would go back into the company. So everything we made went back in. And as we began to grow the company, we brought in Julie Kaysen, who's a pharmacist, to help us with some of the more complicated molecules and compounds. And my daughter-in-law, Sarah Roseberry, who's a wellness nutritionist, certified on many levels, and I sadly don't know the names of all of them, but she came in with all the concepts of the wellness and nutrition, how soap actually could better your life, and it can, chemically. It is a substance you can put on your skin and make your skin better.
Right.
And hygiene, of course, is very important. So through all that, we began to conceive that the Drunken Chemist was more than just us, that we could take it in further directions, beyond just the local-oriented charities, or we do give donations to Wounded Warrior for one of our soaps, which was made for our nephew who went to Afghanistan. And each time we made something, we wanted to give something back.
Right. I like how you just throw that away. Yeah, I just made soap to you. Proceeds from the Cavalry Clean soap
yes,
are donated to the Wounded Warrior Project. And,
we
and you
don't
donate
make...
Say, is it Say? The non-allergenic and non-scented soap to groups supplying chemotherapy patients. That's very important. Like, those aren't just throwaway lines. Those are, meaningful and important for people to notice and take care of.
Thank you. That just became the heart and soul of what we did. And as we went on, each time we found something to donate to or make part of our, we would make a soap specially for a certain group, or, we realized we could take it further, but we didn't know how. We wanted to take it further. We wanted it to be, Tom's gives shoes back, and
sure.
I think Warby Parker donates frames or glasses, depending upon how much you spend. And we wanted to be at that level, but we're certainly not an international company, although we're doing very well. So we brought in
wait, where are you located? You're located where exactly?
We're in Charlotte, North Carolina. So we have a lot of international connections, because Charlotte is an internationally connected city in many, many ways. And my husband worked at Bank of America, and we travel a lot, so we were continually looking for a way to take us a step further in that direction.
Is there a brick-and-mortar store?
No, that was another commitment that we made. We sat and talked about, well, if we did a storefront, then we are committing a certain amount of our income to that. And so we're still, we have a website. It took us 2 years, really, to segue into a website. We took it very, very slow. I think most people by now would have had a storefront and a much bigger web presence.
Yeah. Christina, when did you come into the company?
Well, I met Karen a few years ago, probably about 4 years ago now, 3 or 4 years ago, through her son. I moved out to Los Angeles 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and I met her son John, and we became best friends immediately. We decided that we were going to have a company together. We were going to start making movies together, producing. He writes, I act, and then we switch roles there. We both write and act a little bit. And then, I don't know, to be honest, I'm a very reserved person. So I have a hard time with letting people into my life. And with John and our other friends, it was so easy just to fall in love with all of them. So, to be honest, I don't know, Karen, I don't know if you remember, but I Facebook stalked Karen. And I'm like, hi, this is Christina. This is John's friend. I hope I get to meet you one day. Hope you're cool. And she's like, well, yeah, I want to meet you. So she flew us out to Charlotte. We hung out, and I just fell in love with Karen. We got along really well. I was ecstatic about her business, The Drunken Chemist. I thought it was brilliant. I've been obsessed with skincare for as long as I can remember, you know, and health and taking care of people. I don't like being had. So when I see a label that says something and it doesn't do what it says it's going to do, or it's unethical, or it's unsafe for your skin, I don't like that. And everything about her was honest and beautiful. And so, over the next couple of years, I would be like, hey, you should do this for a soap. Hey, you should do that. because that would be awesome, and it was, it was a little selfish for me.
Sure.
Because I was like, I want that, and then one day she called me probably just over a year ago, and she's like, hey, you want to work for me? I'm like, of course. It was no brainer. Obviously, it was kind of a fantasy to work with somebody that I care so much about and have business with. That's really what I wanted. That makes me happy. Great. I'm Greek, so that's what I want.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that story. So Karen, was social impact, is that something that's always, been a part of who you are and what you do? Was that on your radar or,
Yeah, I think that I was raised my parents were military. We were raised around the world, and we saw cultures that weren't as privileged as the American, environment is. We take so much for granted, and in seeing other environments, it always stuck in my head. My mother is very Christian. She's Methodist, and I'm not, I'm Catholic, but I'm not evangelical in that sense. I think it comes just more from an understanding that as privileged as we are, we need to give back. People talk about paying it forward. I always feel as though that just has to be who you are, and seeing all of the situations, I always wanted to be able to help somehow, the small things that I felt we did, even though they are a part of the company. And we do a lot of outreach. I mean, my sister volunteers continually. I think she does not know the word no. I think that if you called her right now and said, there's a group here that need help, she would fly in and help you. And between the two of us, and we felt we had a real good soulmate in Christina, the day I called her and described what we were doing with Pathfinder, she actually started crying. She was so excited, and I was too. It just became part of that. This has to be done in giving back. We had to make an impact. We had to do something that was better than just simply enjoying the goods and the blessings that we had. And I didn't want to do it in a way that would be a one-time gesture and then would be diffused.
That's a good place
on.
to stop, because we're going to go to commercial break. Let's stop there for a moment, because when we come back, I want you to talk a little bit more about that. You didn't want it to be a one-time gesture. And we'll talk about Pathfinder and your plans for that and your hopes and dreams. And we are going to go to commercial. So stick around, stay wherever you are. Don't go too far away. Grab a drink, do what you need to do, and come right back, because we'll be talking more with Karen and Christina.
Unstoppable with Coach Frankie Picasso will continue right after these messages.
Stop.
It's words you never heard.
We have a book titled The Art of Doing Nothing by Veronica Bien in our guest room by the bed. I'm telling you, this book is an impossible challenge. In the state of Maine, it's said that someone who bottoms chairs for a living is lazy, presumably because one's bottom is perpetually in the chair. To sazzle means to laze around or perform a task in a sloppy way. The word is mainly found in New England. A quote from 1848 describes the term as used by housekeepers in certain parts of Connecticut to refer to a lazy person. Other words for lazy people are abbey-lubbers, scabberlatchers, and slaughter-pooches. To me, the ultimate loblolly is someone who is too lazy to even fake like they're working.
It's words you never heard.
I'm Carolyn Davidson, and you can have fun challenging your words you never heard vocabulary with my free app, Too Funny for Words.
It's the Fitness Minute with fitness expert Annette Hammond.
You can have the best trainer in the world design an exercise program for you. But if you don't do it, it's not worth anything. You can join the most expensive fitness club in town, but if you don't go and exercise, it is worthless. To be a success in any exercise program, you must be consistent. It's the steady, constant exerciser who makes fitness and activity a lifestyle that excels and succeeds. Sometimes our busy schedules seem to prohibit us from exercising every day, so many people only work out 1 to 2 days a week and push themselves so hard that their intensity is too high. Even though this type of workout makes them feel good mentally, it is not the best way to exercise. It is better to moderately exercise in some form every day. Consistency is the key to exercise success. For the Fitness Minute, I'm Annette Hammond.
And we're back with the Drunken Chemist organization. We've got Karen Bacilio and Kristen Rest, and I am your host, Frankie Picasso. Thanks for joining us on Mission Unstoppable Radio. Okay, Karen, when we left, you were talking about how you wanted to make a social impact, but you didn't want it to be a one-time event. You wanted it to be something that was more impactful and I guess, more ongoing.
Right. I think that there's that old adage, which I think everybody's tired of, but, you teach a man to fish as opposed to giving him a fish. But we felt as though something that we did had to make an impact beyond just here's some money or here's, a gesture and go on. So my husband, who, Joe Bacilio, who worked for Bank of America at the time, worked with Shivani Singh, who is one of the partners of Pathfinder. And they were having lunch in New York, and he called me that night, and he said, I just met Shivani. You've never met her, but we worked together. And she has left Bank of America to start this, it's called Pathfinder, and it is a group that's going to make a difference in people's lives. And I went, that's fascinating, but, why are you mentioning her to me? He said, well, we were talking about what she was planning on doing, and she was talking about outreach into parts of India. And he said, I told her, well, my wife makes soap. I said, did she laugh at you? And he goes, no, she wants to talk to you. So we Skyped, and it was the most amazing conversation. We realized that soap, even though it is something that Americans take for granted, is something that around the world does not have a presence. The concept of soap and hygiene is so important to an impoverished environment, but, it is not necessarily available. And India, I mean, the oils and the herbs and the spices and all of the different qualities that something you could do with India. And I think the thing that just immediately the two of us realized made just the most challenging and exciting part of it all was that you're walking into an area that water is not central to their lives. They don't have potable water. They don't have drinkable water, yet soap needs water. Right. And then there were other things like lye. Could you look, lye is caustic, it's sodium hydroxide. You have to have it to make soap, but how could you secure it so that a child wouldn't get hurt, or in an unsecure environment, could you use something like that? And the chemical challenge of it, and the cultural challenge of it, and what kinds of things could you do? Also, the lean business program that we've worked with, where you wouldn't, as a third world, go into a third world nation and go, okay, give me some money, and I will set you up with a franchise. Right. You could somehow create the situation where they built it themselves. You would have a business backing in it somehow, so it would be a business model, but it wouldn't be a one-time thing. It would be something that they could carry with them. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's a fantastic idea. I just want to say one thing about Pathfinder. Pathfinder is made up of the team of Jessica Van Thiel and Shivani Singh, as we already mentioned. They are two human rights activists whose company creates solutions to enable the world's most vulnerable by simultaneously influencing academics, policy, and social entrepreneurship. And their vision is to enable local socialpreneurs so that they can provide for themselves, their families, and their communities. So it's perfect, the blending of your idea to teach and disenfranchised women in India, really, and impoverished women, something that would totally appeal to Pathfinder, as well as, I think, to any mother, woman who really now would have the ability to have hope of, sending their children to school, hope of, feeding their families and clothing them, and even hope of just having, the ability to say yes or no to a husband, even, wait, I've got my own business, man. Right, exactly. Well, and the hygiene part of it, to have some kind of a clean environment for your children. Soap is a basic hygiene that so many of these areas don't have. So it's something where you've given them not just, a one-time thing. They can change their lives. I mean, they can take it and move forward into an area where you're right. They aren't necessarily dependent upon a husband in an abusive situation. They can feel a little comfortable. But it's got to be something they own. And that's part of what our business model is so important to this whole endeavor. We're not going to walk in there as a third world country. I wasn't, when we were talking about it earlier too, it was kind of like, well, there's so many groups, and they're doing a good thing. They're teaching them to make, I think Sadara and several others on Facebook, they make pants and clothes and ship them.
Sure.
But, that's a third world model that's been used over and over again. It's not necessarily, it may or may not be, and I'm not trying to discourage what they're doing. I think what they're doing is great, but it didn't fit into us as much as being able to take local resources that they would have and make something unique that they could sell there and eventually sell elsewhere in the world and join the global marketplace if they wanted.
Have you heard of Barb Stegman and Seven Virtues? Have you heard of her?
No.
Barb Stegman, she's Canadian. She started a perfume company called Seven Virtues. And what she had done, she had been in the military, and one of her friends, I think, had died, and that's what caused her to do this in Afghanistan. But she started with Afghanistan, and then she moved to she moved to Rwanda and Israel and the Middle East. But what she did, and it's great, is that she took the poppy fields and turned them into orange blossoms so that she could make the perfume from the essential oils. And she buys it from these growers at, good rates. So they have a supplier always have a supplier for her perfume. But they also, it's not like, we're going to pay you a little bit of money. They get world rates for, these essential oils. And so it's a beautiful thing. And she's created these wonderful essences. And my favorite one is called Middle East Peace. And it's gorgeous. It's made from lime and sweetie grapefruit oil and basil and cedar and bamboo. It's just beautiful. It's the most beautiful scent. And that's a really nice model to have, is that you're buying the oils in India, you're buying, whatever you need there. And then the women, on the other hand, they get to help sustain that in their own country and create a business for themselves. So it's similar in a way, and it's nice.
That is nice.
You're helping the economy.
I'll definitely have to look that up, because that certainly sounds like she's done some stuff that we could certainly learn from.
Yeah, we could definitely learn from that.
Yeah, they actually got money from the sharks,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was one of the few who got on the show, and Brent became one of our partners. But, but that's because it's such a beautiful idea.
Yeah.
And we need more of that. And we need more people like you, you guys, and Shivani and Jessica, to go out into the world and help make that happen. So, but I'm curious, when you think about them, you're going to teach them how to make the soap, and you have to overcome those obstacles of no water first. Have you figured that out?
There are quite a few different things that I've been thinking about. And I've spoken to Christina about them. I think a lot of it will depend upon getting a better working knowledge. And Shivani, we're working on either a trip or getting some more research for the local situation. But there are a couple of different ways you could do it. You could set up a central location of some sort and then have the water and the lye there, so that they would come and take back kind of a melt and pour base, where they would take it back and they would then add their own oils. It would be local sourced, but some of the more challenging and dangerous kind of chemicals would not be in their homes.
Right.
That's not as good a model, I think, for the women. You make them dependent upon a local, area. You might have to set it up as some kind of a commune of some kind, or that's one particular aspect. The other aspect is I've been doing a lot of research on survivalist sites, which it makes me laugh just to think that that's where I went. But they have a lot of really good data on how to get clean water and how to use like lye and how to make soap. I guess after the apocalypse, they're going to be the ones making the soap. So it's a great website to visit if you need to know anything.
Yeah.
But, this is a process I think really deserves to be kind of a cottage process. I'd like not to stray too far from that, because I think, I don't know, some of us may remember their grandmothers on the farm. I have a friend who talks about his grandmother making her own soap with wood ash, and how if you took a shower you'd lose the layer of skin, with her soap.
Right.
But that model appeals to me more than a centralized location, but we have to be flexible. It has to fit into.
So what is it that the lye does exactly? What's the lye? What's its purpose?
Well, you're basically doing an acid-base reaction, and the acid has to be the fats all of the fats and oils that you use are acidic. So you have to have a very strong base, which is sodium hydroxide or lye, and you are neutralizing all that into triglycerides and salts. And tell me when your eyes glaze over, because I can go on.
No. I understand. I'm thinking, like you've got goat's milk that you can use there.
Mm-hmm. And milk itself is acidic, a little acidic. Anything that's an oil base or fat base can be used. And usually what we do is vegetable oils because those are more appealing. In the Midwest, you would use beef tallows and pig tallows in the South, the fat that you would get rendered from what you'd butchered. I assume most of the oils that we would be using for acids in India would be plant-based, like neem oil, which is amazing.
Neem is very,
Mm-hmm. And it is, we have a soap, spa neem, which is wonderful. It is so very healing, and it's great for your skin. So something like that, that's what excites me too, is that we'll get over there and find oils that we hadn't known about, that are locally produced, that, they can then obtain, I assume, a little cheaper. Obviously, we're not looking to import anything. They're going to use whatever is there. So we have to be very flexible at this point. And
is there a name that you
have?
I can't imagine Drunken Chemist would.
Oh, we have to change that.
Over there.
Yeah. We have to change that. And we knew that. We
love our name.
Oh, I do too. But that's basically why the new website, which we're pulling together now, will have more TDC on it.
Okay.
than the Drunken Chemist. And at some point, we'll change the name fully, I'm sure. It certainly served us well, and we love it. And we have a lot of people who call us.
It's a fun name, and it really is. It's very fun, and it's intriguing, and it makes you want to know more. Absolutely. It's
but
awesome.
It won't work in a culture outside.
It doesn't work in a culture that doesn't drink.
Right, exactly. Not going to, and a lot of people, I had someone that stopped me at a church show once and say, well, you should not be here because
you got Drunken Chemist. Soap.
And I said, well, let me tell you, Catholics drink. I know that, so I'm good to go to Catholic.
Absolutely. We're going to take another commercial break. We've got 2 more after this one, but everybody stay in your seats. Don't go too far. If you have to have a bio break, go do that right now, because we're going to come back and speak some more with Karen and Christina, and we can't wait to do that. And when we come back, we're going to talk about what's in your soap. I mean, besides, is there booze in your soap? And what are the names, and what are they good for? And all of that wonderful stuff. As I said, I just received a beautiful basket from Karen, and I'm very excited to try them, and they smell luscious. So here we go.
Frankie Picasso will continue right after these messages.
Stop.
LinkedIn. It's a great tool and a great way to do business in today's social media driven world. And Carol McManus is the LinkedIn Lady with the LinkedIn Lady Show. Tuesday and Wednesday afternoons at 4 p.m. Eastern on allbusinessradionetwork.com. The LinkedIn Lady Show is designed to inform, inspire, and educate businesses. Every social media site has a specific demographic, personality, and purpose. And the LinkedIn Lady will interview a variety of guests, such as business owners who can showcase their business and talk about how they use social media, such as Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Google+, Pinterest, and of course, LinkedIn. For more on Carol and the show, check out her website, LinkedInLady.com. As trends change and new applications become available, the LinkedIn Lady Show will bring that information to you in an easy-to-use, fun, and engaging way. Every Tuesday and Wednesday afternoons at 4 p.m. Eastern, it's the LinkedIn Lady Show with Carol McManus on allbusinessradionetwork.com.
It's the Fitness Minute with fitness expert Annette Hammond.
Most of the time, exercise rejuvenates you and increases your energy. But every once in a while, you may find that you're feeling tired in your workout, and every movement is an effort. My advice is simple. Turn up the music. Listening to fast-paced, uplifting music can really be helpful. According to the Journal of Sport and Exercise Psychology, your overall endurance improves by 15% when you exercise to music. So put on your preferred playlist or turn the radio up and treat yourself to a great workout while listening to your favorite music. The pulsating beat and uplifting lyrics can truly spur you on to complete your exercise and also to get an outstanding workout. Turn up the music and turn up the energy and motivation. For the Fitness Minute, I'm Annette Hammond. Like us on Facebook.
And we're back. It's Mission Unstoppable, and these two are unstoppable, Karen and Christina. And we're going to go to India again. But first, I want to talk about the unstoppable TDC, the Drunken Chemist soap. So, is there booze in your soaps?
Yes.
Yes. There is. Only in a couple. We started with beer soap because beer is wonderful for the skin. I think if that got out more, people would not. Yeah,
right.
It's good for shampoo, but it reacts with the lye wonderfully and gets very creamy, bubbling, wonderful golden soap. That's
nice.
Our domestic is based on that. And the very first beer we used was Pabst Blue Ribbon because it was cheap. But it turned out to make the best soap. We do make beer, and our Irish friends hate this. We do make beer with Guinness. We call it OMG, and they think it's a waste of a good beer, but it makes an dark gold soap. So beer soap is really wonderful.
Beer tastes terrible, but to put it on your skin, that's something else.
Yeah.
But it doesn't smell like beer. That's the other thing. We get people stopping us. No. That all reacts out. And we put a little orange in it, so you get kind of an orange, or vetiver, which is a woodsy scent. The men really like that.
Yeah, I like
a little
vetiver.
bit of wood.
Yeah.
So all of those go in. And we also do a hop soap, which is not beer but has real hops in it, which is wonderful for your skin. We do
I know you do
a red wine.
Is there champagne in the champagne?
A little. We don't use much because there's so much sugar in it, it'll throw off the chemical mixture.
Okay.
So there's just enough to kind of scent it. And then we do add a few other oils to push that. The pina colada has coconut in it, but no coconut vodka. The problem with alcohol when you're making soap is that alcohol can react and occasionally can combust when you're trying to react it. So
yeah.
We have to kind of be very careful. But most of them do have a little bit, and then we add the scents in. But nothing smells like alcohol. You're not going to go walking around smelling like you just had tequila. We do have something for after called Hangover Helper, which is wonderful. I think I sent you some of that. That one has
Hangover Helper.
It's really good for hangovers.
It's good for hangovers. It's good for headaches. It's good if you just need to relax a little bit. It's amazing.
So what is there essential oil in that?
That one has peppermint to soothe your stomach. And patchouli for the scent, lavender to calm you down. It really makes a difference. And that's good for allergies, too, if you just don't feel good. It's good for all of that. Highland malt actually doesn't have any kind of it's a malt. We use a stout beer in it. Honey Pale Ale does have some honey pale. We make it with honey pale ale. So any of the beer soaps that have a name to them, that is actually used in it.
And baby bergamot, that doesn't have anything to do with seals or whales, does it?
No, baby bergamot we created for a custom order, and it's this gorgeous pink. It actually was not meant for kids. It was meant for the mamas at the shower because it has tons of cocoa butter in it for stretch marks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's
pretty cool.
It's a beautiful pink because they were expecting a little girl. So that's the other thing that I think makes us fun and flexible and excited about getting to India is we don't have just stock recipes. We can customize so much because we've done all our research. We spent 2 years researching all of this before we ever really brought it to market. So
I could call you and get a custom soap just for me?
Yes, whatever
if I had a party
like.
or wedding or something, you'll create something new and wonderful.
Yes, and then we can talk about your skin conditions because we say that it's the largest organ in the body. It protects everything else, and that's part of also the hygiene aspect of what we're looking at for Pathfinder is that we need to know what their issues are for skincare, and then they can create soaps that respond to that. A lot of the old essential oils are very antiseptic. I mean, they're wonderful. They're antifungal, they're antiseptic,
and the neem and the.
Yeah, there's one out of Australia called Manuka, which is wonderful as well.
Yeah.
So all of them use, and we super fat, so there is actually some of that oil in the bar. A lot of the stuff reacts, but we have about 5 to 10%. So you're actually getting those essential oils. And we're very cautious, we don't make soaps specifically that if it's for a pregnant woman, we'll say, no, you can't have this, you can't have this. Or, our bars do note which ones should not be used by women who are pregnant or other conditions.
So what's the shelf life?
Oh,
Small
4 years.
So
4 years.
Years?
I have like 3 years, 4 years. It's unbelievable. This stuff lasts forever.
Yeah, I bet it does. And Christina, you had one called Coconut made for you, I think.
Oh yeah, my favorite scent in the whole world is coconut, and I have super dry skin. So Karen made this amazing bar called Christina's Coconut, and I can't get enough of it. I use it on my face too, and I'm very selective about the products that I use, and that's why I started working with the Drunken Chemist, because the products are amazing. I also want to give a shout out to the Cleary Sage Bar. This is for the ladies. So basically I get really bad cramps once a month. And I can't even lie, when I use this Cleary Sage bar, I will like go to sleep with this bar next to me, because the Cleary Sage in this bar by the Drunken Chemist, it really has alleviated cramps for me and just relaxed me all around. Just, it's amazing. Every woman should own that bar.
I like things with grapefruit in it. And I love stuff with grapefruit, the scent of it. I read an article that said that if a guy smells grapefruit on a woman, she looks 5 to 10 pounds thinner to him.
Oh, no, I didn't know that. Our Spa Citrus has grapefruit and a tangerine. Yeah.
What's it called?
So I need to start using that more. I'll have to
Wait, what's that one called?
We're talking about
It's called Spa Citrus. I think I hope I
sent you one of those. Yes. You did.
I think one of the face candies, too, we were talking about putting grapefruit in one of the face candies. Grapefruit or peach or something. I can't remember. Karen,
I think it was peach.
What were we working on?
We ended up using peppermint and orange, because orange is a little astringent, and lime for the men, but they don't. That's a new bar that we make that's half and half. It's half activated charcoal on one side, and the other side is the moisturizing regular soap. So if you need to exfoliate, you do, and if you don't, you flip it over.
That'd be like for a mechanic, too, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Hands.
There are some... I think that the best part is just sitting there looking at all the different soaps that we've made that are so specific and help so much. The Clary Sage, well, no pregnant woman really should be using it, because there is an aspect to it. But I have friends who cannot live without it, and the Clary Sage has been, for many years has been known to help with menstrual cramps. So when we put it in the soap, it's just subtle enough that it does make a difference.
And red clover, have you used that in anything?
I haven't yet. That's one I've been looking at. I would love to get some of that and play with it.
Yeah. Ben, are you listening? Ben, my producer, are you listening?
Yes,
I want to know. I want to know what your favorite scent is on a woman.
I like peppermint.
Peppermint? We have this fabulous bar called Nellie Bell, which is hot pink and is a peppermint soap. And
do you think Lisa would like that?
I think we need to make sure you get some.
Yeah, and the face candy, too. That one for sure.
Face candy sounds good. What's that one?
Yeah. That's the one we have to get you some of that. That's half and half. That's the half activated charcoal.
The half activated one.
Activated charcoal, half cleansing, moisturizing soap, and they're candy size. We're actually going to release them in little candy packets eventually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they're amazing. They're the best face soap you'll ever use.
Wow. I love that. I love that whole idea. I think it's very exciting. I make a cleanser. I make my own cleanser from, it's vinegar and tea tree and mint, peppermint oil, essential oils. And it smells amazing and it cleans everything. And I never use anything other than that.
Is that like a toner? You use it as a toner on your skin?
No, I don't use it on my skin. I use it to clean my house. And it's
I'm sorry. I thought you were...
Yeah,
I was going to say the vinegar. No, but that would be a good exfoliation, but it might be a bit much on you.
Yeah, it's a little bit rough. But you know what? It's I don't like to use chemicals. I don't. And I'm very sensitive to them. And so if I can find natural ways of cleaning and it smells good and, I like that. It smells clean. Mint smells clean. Peppermint smells clean and it's a nice scent. And
I agree. It's clean and refreshing. Yeah, absolutely.
Lemon used to do that, and still does for the French.
I love
but in
citrus,
America, we think of it as pledge now because they put it in pledge. Isn't that sad? Because it's a gorgeous. We were in Pompeii, and they had those massive, lemons hanging off the tree, in Pompeii in Italy, and they plucked one and sliced it, and it was like, oh my goodness, what a scent, it was fabulous. And then some Americans standing there saying, oh, it smells like pledge. I'm like,
lime works good too, because I love the smell of lime. I go to Mexico and you just open up a fresh lime and it's delicious. But I wear light blue perfume.
Do you?
Dolce & Gabbana. Dolce & Gabbana. Yeah, because I really like a citrus and I like a green scent. So I love all of that together. Yeah, it all works. Pretty cool. So let's go back to India for a moment, because I want to understand, we're talking about impoverished women selling soap and making soap and cleaning, to cleanse their skin. What do you think it's going to cost as far as, like, what could they sell it for, and who can afford to purchase it?
I think that the key is to keep it inexpensive, obviously, because you want them to be able to get local sources inexpensively and sell it at a rate where it can be sold at local markets. And then for future global stuff, then you can think about tariffs and all that later on. That's the key is to get them ingredients that keep the soap low cost, and it's their own labor. Packaging you can do very simply. You can wrap it in a piece of paper, or you can wrap it with a piece of raffia if you want.
Sure.
You don't have to wrap it. You can take it to the market and chop it off as they're there, and sell it as they're standing there. In terms of costs, at the moment, all I can say is that I know what it costs for us to make ours.
Right.
And I know that a lot of the cost for us goes into getting things shipped in that are
yes.
Our costs are a little higher than a normal soap. You can go buy dollar bar soap at the dollar store. Yep. You're not going to get quality ingredients. Ours are going to be higher for that reason. For them, I think we have to make sure that the four basics are there. Some form of like we use the four: palm oil, olive oil, castor oil, and coconut oil.
Right.
I know they have neem. I'm aware that they have others. I don't know what they are in the area that Shivani has targeted as being part of that. That's part of the research we're working on right now. It's got to be cheap.
We have to go back there, or we have to go there. We have to make a trip there and scan out everything. We're going to be starting in rural northern India. So everything, we want everything to be locally sourced, of course, like Karen said, but also environmentally friendly, ethically tested.
Sure. We're going to go to a break. This is our last one. I'm sorry. I'm going to cut you off, Christina.
No worries.
We'll talk more about it when we come back. Stick around, everybody. We're coming back, and we're going to end the show, and you're going to find out a lot more about a Drunken Chemist.
Coach Frankie Picasso will continue right after these messages.
Stop.
Have you heard? The pages of American Patchwork and Quilting magazine come to life on our new weekly online radio show, American Patchwork and Quilting. Join Pat Sloan, our blogging and quilt designer host, as she talks about the latest trends, ideas, and inspirations. Her guests include quilt pattern designers, authors, quilt shop owners, and our editors, all quilters, just like you. Call in with your questions. Get quilting tips from industry experts. Learn about free patterns. Hear behind-the-scenes stories from our magazines, American Patchwork and Quilting, Quilt Sampler, and Quilts and More. Get the scoop on free stuff and find out more about the best independent quilt shops in North America. To listen to a live show, tune in Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Just log on to allpeoplequilt.com/radio. To hear past shows, go to iTunes and search for American Patchwork and Quilting Radio. We hope you'll join us because we know that quilting changes everything.
Decades pass in the blink of an eye. Things change because time never stands still. Have you ever wondered what life was like in the proverbial way back when? Visit the historic Goodman LeGrand Home and Museum to witness a time capsule of days gone by. Located at 624 North Broadway in Tyler, Texas, with open hours of 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. every Tuesday and Saturday. It's more than worth your time. It's a must to remember life as it was. Call 903-531-1286. That's 903-531-1286 to learn more.
Okay, and we're back with the Drunken Chemist. Karen and Christina are here. Karen, I wanted to ask you about the Drunken Chemist in the United States first. You don't have a brick and mortar. You're online. You're word of mouth. You decided not to do a big marketing push as far as putting a lot of money into business cards and all kinds of extraneous things that a lot of businesses do. So how successful are you?
We have 2 full-time employees, and I take a salary as well. So there are 3 of us actually that have salaries from the company, which I think is pretty good for a company our size. And we do pay consulting fees to our pharmacist and our wellness person. Most of the money that we get, we end up putting back in. We are profitable. We file profitable tax things. Most of the orders that we get come from customizable orders, word of mouth. That's where we built the business, and that's
a great way to do it.
It really is. I mean, we have 2 to 3 large custom orders a month, 2 to 300 soaps kind of thing. And so, for weddings, for showers, people are realizing that you can do something like that inexpensively, and it's much better than candy or, a frame you're going to throw out. We're not huge. I mean, we run lean, so we're not, we don't have a huge marketing budget or any of that, although we do have some lovely pictures that Christina took that we've put in print ads in several places. We do have business cards now. We finally broke down and have business cards. Our website, my husband's taken a break from his huge IT job, so he is rebuilding our website. And we really run on word of mouth. I think that was how the business began to expand. My sister's in Arkansas, so she has a fairly large group of people there that order from her, and I get through Charlotte, Christina gets through Chicago and LA. So we're building the business more that way.
Nice.
And that way we can respond immediately to people if they need a new soap or if there's a problem, we can take it.
So if I wanted to order, create the Frankie Picasso soap, which would be crazy looking, how long would that take?
I could, depending upon how much you're willing to tell me about what you want,
right?
You could have it in probably a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Oh, that's incredible! Wow, that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Your products are free of toxins and pore clogging chemicals, and we really like that. And you said that you have the neem oil and other things that help calm irritation and balance skin and mood and all of that. So what is wrong with the liquid bottle soap? Because I know you said that we do not like the liquid bottle soap. Why should we not use that?
It's a waste of money, first of all. It's just a waste of money. It's mostly just water. It's just it's not a quality. Generally speaking, I know there's probably some out there that are nice, but they're not quality. They're some of them are cruelty on animals. Some of the products are not organic, or not all natural, and they're just fillers that you're putting on your skin. You're basically putting toxins into your skin and drying out your skin more, causing more wrinkles, causing skin irritations, things like that.
And they also have I'm sorry to interrupt, they also have microbeads, a lot of them in them, and we're just now discovering. We had a choice and had several people tell us, you have to have microbeads, you have to, and I bought a bag and let it sit there for about 2 months, and then doing research, and it's still sitting there. I will never use them. They are so damaging to the environment. We're just now learning how bad they are.
Wow. They're making them illegal everywhere, too.
Really?
Yeah, microbeads are starting to go away finally. There are better ways to exfoliate your skin, absolutely.
Yeah.
What about, if I have a product that doesn't lather, does that mean that it's good or not good?
Depends on your skin. I mean, you can have, lather is part of the surfactant, the soap that carries away most of the dirt. But some people like a creamy soap, and some people like a bubbling soap. Men tend to like bubbling soaps. We have a lacrosse coach who uses our products, and he loves stuff that smells like white tea. We won't go there, but he loves white tea bubbling soap, and so that's why we have to make for them. Most people don't like the bubbling if they like a conditioning or creamy soap. They want the feeling of something left behind, the little bit of cream.
Yeah, I like to feel super moisturized, and my sister has oily skin, and she likes to be squeaky clean.
Squeaky clean. So I have a vetiver, soap from a French company, very popular European soap company, and it doesn't lather, and I'm like, keep putting more and more, going, oh, you're going to lather now, right? But I mean, it smells gorgeous, but it just doesn't, and it drives me insane because I do like that creamy feeling.
Well, you can get cream. You can get cream and bubbling. You just have to be very careful of what you're using, because if you over cream it, you're not going to get bubbles. That's just the factor of how something works. Cream doesn't bubble because it's too viscous and all of that. It depends on what your skin likes. I love bubbles. I've always loved bubbles. I like a soap that just get tons of bubbles on your face and it goes everywhere, and it's just great. But that's, as I mature, my skin has dried, and I'm going to have to get away from that, because bubbles are part of the cleansing process. Just have to kind of you have to go with what your skin tells you feels good.
Right.
It's your skin will tell you. If you look in the mirror and, oh, I look great today, well, that's the soap you should be using.
Yeah. Or your esthetician goes, you didn't use a something that exfoliant. Not exfoliating. What are you not using?
That's really important. That's my thing. You have to.
Can we go back to?
I exfoliate 3 times a week. You've got to.
Yeah. I want to go back half a second to liquid soap for just a second, because it's I hate it so much. It is made of stuff that is deliberately drying to the skin, because they want to sell you the moisturizer that you have to have to go along with it.
Which brand are you talking about?
Most of them, the cheaper ones surely are mostly, but most of them have agents that are added that are very drying to keep it liquid. You're using a totally different base. You're using a potassium hydroxide, and potassium is a little stronger than sodium hydroxide. So you're getting something that can be very drying to the skin, and they love that. I have a friend who I finally talked her into using baby bergamot. I brought it to her, and it's cocoa butter based. And she came in the next day, and she's my age, and she said, my skin has never felt this good. I didn't have to put on moisturizer. And it's been a week, and her skin is looking just, more and more hydrated and plump. Nice. I mean, it doesn't work that way for everybody. I'm not trying to say it's a cure, but it definitely makes a difference what you're using on your skin. And liquid soap is just, don't buy it. Get yourself a beautiful little soap dish, and put that Lux bar of soap on there, and just enjoy looking at that, as opposed to the bottle sitting there that you're going to throw out at the end.
That's what I was going to talk about, actually, before we went to that one break, because I was just thinking about all the remnants of soap that people have, and that, I've seen people put it all together into a big dish, and I was thinking, I wonder, can you make this soap, like the ladies in India, I'm specifically thinking of, I'm thinking of this tray, and they can cut it up, and it can be, even the crumbles are, worthy of sale.
We use the shavings. We can
the shavings.
Put them in those nets, the little nets, and then you have a fabulous little net. You can even, if you don't mind the scent being mingled, you could put little bits of soap in those little nets and use them. I've seen them made of hemp.
Pantyhose that are ripped or whatever, right?
Oh yeah. Ooh, what a great idea! I hadn't even thought of that. Although I don't wear pantyhose much anymore.
No, nobody does anymore. But you know what? It's pretty cheap. You could buy.
That's true. It's very cheap. I hadn't even thought of it. And pretty colors.
For the last bit of soap, I'm using it there. Even when it gets really small, I can't let it go to waste because it's too good.
Yeah, there's no reason to throw it out. You can use more.
Let's go back to you for a second, because we don't have that much time. First of all, the address of your web is?
www.thedrunkenchemist.com.
Okay,
it is. We're switching over, so you might get to the old one, which is fine. There's all the lovely soaps are there. If you want anything custom, email us. I mean, whatever your wildest dreams.
Your email is?
You can get it on the website, but it's LABTDC.
Okay, and how expensive would a custom order be?
Not that expensive.
Not that expensive? Doable for most people?
Definitely. We do all of our custom orders. We work with people to see what, we ask their price range first. And then
is there a minimum order?
If you want a bar, I'll make you a bar.
Really?
It gives me more time and fun to figure out. I'm learning every time I make a new bar of soap. So I would not mind making a bar for someone if that's what they want.
I love your attitude. You are unstoppable. You truly are. Let's go to India for one more time. You hope to be in the country setting women up by what, 2017? 2018?
Yeah, probably
within the next year and a half. We're working on getting funding very closely with Pathfinder.
Right.
So we're hoping to make our first trip over there within a year and a half. And see, scope out the place like we were talking about earlier, as far as the resources go and where we're going to begin setting up with these women and developing a relationship with the women that we're going to be working with also.
Right. And I'm thinking that, possibly when you're there are partnerships with the people, who have the oils or the flowers or the, something where that might be a seed money start there too.
That would be exciting for us to get over there and, do something like what you'd mentioned before with 7 Virtues, to get over there and find a supplier of something wonderful.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
That would be so great.
Absolutely. You should reach out to Barb.
I'm going to email her as soon as we're off, because that's exactly where we want to be. What she is doing, that's who we are. That's what we want to do.
I read that. I feel that from you, and I feel the passion, and I really feel, that it's real and true, and it's not just, something that people, it's what everybody wants to do today to get the business. It really is in your heart to help other people, and I like that.
Yeah, it's always been about. And the people that work with us as well, that we ask to work with us, Christina and the others, it's all about giving back. It's all about the service.
Right.
As you go along, making sure that what you're given is given back to people who need it. So, and that's who we are. We may be called the Drunken Chemist, but we're not that whimsical.
What do your students feel about you? Do they know what you do?
Yeah, some of them do. In fact, I actually taught a class this year to make soap. It was hysterical. It was so funny. They were like, we can use this? They ended up making soap and taking it home. This was one of my high school classes. They gave them away as Christmas presents.
Oh,
it was adorable. And they had the pretty pastel colors and the scents, and they loved the chocolate scent. And it was just so exciting to see them make something and take it home. It was like, your grandmothers have been doing this for hundreds of years, guys. But here, let me show you how to not buy a $1 bar of soap. Let me show you how to make soap. And that's all they talked about all year long.
That's fantastic. We are at our last minute. Karen Patilio, Christina Russ, thank you so much for being my guest. You've been listening to the folks from the Drunken Chemist. And a shout out goes to Pathfinder for sending them our way and for helping to do what you do in the world as well. And hopefully the seed money will come your way if anybody's listening and you want to get involved with helping these ladies in India become self-sufficient and help with their families. That would be fantastic. I am the Unstoppable Frankie Picasso. You have been listening to Mission Unstoppable Radio. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ben. Did you have one last word there, Karen?
I was just going to say thank you, because we will get there.
Our pleasure. Oh, I know you will. I know you will.
Thank you, Frankie. We appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. Goodbye, wherever you are in the world, day or night. We love you, and we will be back here next week, same time, same channel. Take care.
They didn't stop. Stories of people who, when the odds were against them, turned defeat into victory. You've been listening to Mission Unstoppable with Coach Frankie Picasso. See you next time, and always remember...
Don't stop.